YouTube friends. Ashley here with Crazy Brave Homeschool. I am back today with a review. I know that this curriculum has been reviewed probably several times on YouTube, and in fact there is a review. I don't know if I remember the name of the channel. If I don't follow them, I don't think I can link it, but if I do, I'm going to link a review that I really enjoyed on this curriculum. We are talking about RightStart Mathematics. But, you know, I think when I feel passionately about a curriculum, either passionately positive or negative, I really enjoy kind of going through that process of really breaking down why we really liked it or why we really didn't. And I think it can be helpful for, you know, whoever finds this one. But just know that there are lots of reviews on this curriculum. So I think, especially before investing in an expensive one like this, it's good to, I don't know, watch a few and kind of see which perspective might fit your own and your own family style. So on that note, we are eclectic homeschoolers. I throw in a few different philosophies between self-led learning, Charlotte Mason, some Waldorf, and lately I've been getting into classical too. So we're all over the place. I don't even know what philosophy this fits under. I think because this is fairly parent-teacher involved, that reminds me of Charlotte Mason and classical and Waldorf, all of them. So anyway, it's definitely working for us. This review will be a positive review. We really loved RightStart Mathematics, and I'm excited to get into how this level, which is level A, worked out for our homeschool this year. A couple things I'll mention before I flip the camera and show you a bit of like the actual materials. So this is level A. They don't say it even anywhere in here. I've gathered that this is likely like a kindergarten level. My daughter was in first grade this year, and this was like almost like an accident that this even happened. I had gotten Charlotte Mason level 1 arithmetic, and that was going to be our core math curriculum. And it was going really well. This was a hand-me-down from some friends in all of the manipulatives. And I just had to get the workbook. But when I went through this program, I was like, wow, this is like really cool. And this is going over a lot more concepts than our Charlotte Mason arithmetic is. And it's very game-based. It's very hands-on. It's got a lot of fun stuff. So I'm like, this kind of seems more her style. And we were getting a little burned out on the repetition in Charlotte Mason. So I decided to do them both side by side. So we started it later in the year, which is why it is June and we are just about finished with this. But what am I getting at here? So it's a kindergarten level. My daughter's in first grade. Charlotte Mason felt very first grade level. So I don't know. It was nice for her to catch up on a lot of math concepts that she didn't get from her kindergarten year, which we unschooled. So I tried out a self-led learning approach that year, and we had a great year. She did a lot of math because she was very interested in money. So we did a lot of counting. We even did a couple of sales where she sold her necklaces. And let's see, she just taught herself how to count from 1 to 20, probably from playing hide and seek. And then just naturally learned her shapes and her colors through just play. So needless to say, I did not bring in a curriculum for kindergarten year, but I am glad that we went with level A for first grade because it really did go over, you know, quite a few concepts that we didn't hit in kindergarten. And then we will go on to level B, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera so that you guys can see what the workbook is like for this. And I'll just go over maybe a couple of lessons examples from the teacher's guide, and then I'll show you the manipulatives and how I have those organized because those are intense. And then I'll just kind of go over some of the pros and cons of how this program worked for us. Okay, so I'm going to start with the workbook here. This is a very thin workbook you can see, which I really appreciate. We are not a very workbook heavy homeschool. So I don't know, maybe one day we will be, but we definitely aren't right now. So I really appreciated this as an introduction to math, being nice and easy. I think the reason that this is a lighter workbook, well, first of all, it's level A, but also because this math is very hands-on. There are a ton of really great activities with this, and that's where most of the learning comes from. So I'll just give you kind of a quick flip through of what these worksheets are like. We started a little bit later in the program, so the first few here we did not do, but it was some shape, recognition, tally marks. There is a geoboard lesson, and then we're getting into fractals. So this is where we started. So, you know, there's a little bit of cut and paste work, which is nice. They introduce number writing, where they start out showing you the numbers, and then eventually you start writing them on your own. My daughter's numbers were pretty good by this point, so we didn't totally need that. But here's an example, of how they will like show you part of the number 3, right? And then eventually you're writing your own, so. And then we're getting into some simple addition. So this would be like, for just to give you an example of the lesson, this worksheet 16. I don't know what lesson this corresponds with, but I'd say this is within the first quarter of the teacher's guide. And then we didn't do all of them, you know, sometimes, and they even say, have your child do the whole page or they can choose a side. Okay, and then we start getting into you know, flipping the equations around. So you're starting with the whole and then adding in the parts. And then this one, some more cut and paste. We do a lot of work with the abacus in this curriculum. I'm going to talk more about that. That has been a great tool for us. So it's a wonderful tool at really helping your child understand the concept of ones, tens, hundreds. And some more number work. Here we're getting into some double-digit addition. I don't remember, but it's possible that she used the abacus to find these answers at this point. They have you fill out a hundreds chart, which is great. And then again, working with the whole to find the parts. And then this is likely probably using the abacus to find these larger numbers for this addition. And then I like how they get into this because like this does seem very simple, but it's much harder for a child to begin with a smaller number and add on a larger number. So they focus quite a bit on that. So here's an example of them bringing in like a little bit of creativity into the workbook lesson, which I really appreciated. Even though I think my daughter got kind of frustrated with this one. I do kind of wish that they had brought in a little bit more color into the workbook, some more like fun activities like this. As you have probably seen, you know, this workbook is a little dry. It definitely doesn't have all of the fun stuff that say math with confidence or the good and the beautiful math has. In a way, though, I appreciate that because it does not distract the children from what is a really difficult thing to do, you know, learning math. So a part of me does really appreciate that. She has not complained about how simple and boring these pages are. I do think that my son, like I already know that he really appreciates stuff like this. So it has kind of made me wonder if we will stick with RightStart for him or if I will try out one of those more, I don't really know what you would call it, but sort of creative math programs. This did work though, and it doesn't have a lot on it. So it's not distracting, right? This is really easy to just see what you know, the problem is. Okay, so here we're getting into, we do a lot of work with whole and parts. This, you know, this was a pretty big assignment and she did great. The top one would be adding the parts to find the whole, and then the bottom one would be starting with the whole to subtract, to start learning subtraction. So you would start with the whole and then subtract a part to find the answer, or to find the other part. So she did great with that. This is like a review sheet, so you can do these or not do these. It's really just going over whatever they had learned throughout. I guess this is probably the first, well, this looks like a halfway through review. But anyway, yeah, I guess I appreciated these. They went well. There are some assessments in the back of the book too, I'll show you. So here we're getting into measuring. She's learning inches and centimeters. And like this was another, but really there's only been two kind of more fun activities on paper. And this one was fun for her to measure the pencils to find which ones matched in length. And then we just have about 5 or 6 worksheets left until we're done. So like really simple and small, right? I know that we appreciated that. For her, we didn't need all of the fun graphics and stuff in our math workbook. This worked perfectly well for us. There was one additional activity that they had her do that I really liked. So this is based on her work with the abacus to start to comprehend the teen numbers. So between 11 and 19. And you choose 2 colors because the abacus beads that we use has 2 colors. And this is her like teen book. So she would choose those 2 colors in her beads and then start at 11 and go up to 18. This was really fun. I do wish that maybe the program had more activities like this. There was just this one. And that's that. Okay, so now I'll just do like a very brief flip through of the teacher's guide. So this is quite thick. There are, I think, 130, about 130 lessons in here. Like I said, we started later in the program. Like the first part, we skipped quite a bit because it was a lot of review. We were learning a lot of bigger number addition in our Charlotte Mason. So we were able to skip some of this. But let me just see here. Okay, okay, so let's try here. Let's just, let's jump into about a third of the way through the book and look at lesson 64. So counting with tally marks and more adding. So they will always show you objectives here of the lesson. The lesson is always only 2 pages, and then they will show you your materials here. So I would really consider this an open and go curriculum because they show you what you need. You can prep this the night before, and then when the time for the lesson comes, you just open it. And it's just really, it's very clear. This is not a ton of writing. This is easy to digest. I really appreciate that as the educator. And then they will tell you if there's a worksheet. There is definitely not always a worksheet with the lessons. More oftentimes than not, there is not a worksheet. So I do like to go through the lesson the night before and I'll highlight what we're gonna do from it, or if there's anything that I need to like remember. And that's because a lot of times we skip stuff that we've gone over. I don't do a ton of review if I don't think that it's necessary. Okay, so the warm up here, now that we're at the end of the curriculum, I do some of the warm-up exercises. For many of these though, I skipped it because it is a lot of like songs, which is fine, but we have like our own songs that we've learned for like months of the year and days of the week and stuff. It comes with a CD and it comes with a book. I really found that those were a little too young for her. We have just gone over a lot of those concepts. So I can't tell you how the book or the CD is.
Okay, but here's some examples of like the warm-up. Show 5 taken 2 times on the abacus. Ask the child what is shown. This is just introducing multiplication, but it is a very brief introduction. So maybe this wasn't even the best example to show you, but they do introduce it. It's only a couple of lessons, and then we haven't looked at it again. Have the child write the equation for doubling 7 on the dry erase board. Repeat for doubling 9. What is half of 14? What is half of 18? Ask the child to start at 710 and count to 100. This is something I'll talk about a little bit more when we talk about the pros and cons of the program. This like 710, 810, 910 thing that they do. And then just some verbal questions. What is 10 plus 1? What is 110 plus 1? What is 4 plus 1? Counting with tally marks. Show the child a heap of tiles and ask him to guess how many he thinks there are. Ask him to enter his guess on the abacus. So then you would get out your pack of tiles here. Ask if he could count them by writing tally marks. So then we're reviewing our tally marks. Suggest that he set aside the tiles he has counted and let him decide how many to move over at a time. If necessary, remind him to start a new row of tally marks when he reaches 10. When he's finished counting, ask the child how many tiles there are. In this example, there are 2, 10, 3. And then, so I don't know, like, I guess what I want to say about the lessons here is that they are very easy. They're just very easy for the parent. And I do like that they bring in all of these different materials. They bring in some games. Sometimes there is a game suggested, like here, go to the dump game. This was really fun. My daughter loved this game. It's just like Go Fish, but you're adding up to 10. So they will tell you within the materials what you'll need for the game. And then the worksheet here. And then there's always like an in conclusion. Write the number 56 without reading it. Ask the child to show the number on the abacus and to read it. Okay, so that's one lesson. One lesson for us takes 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes tops. I really don't think we've had a math lesson out of this book go beyond that. Let's see. Let's just show one more lesson here. All right, so let's just do the one that we did today. So this is towards the end of the curriculum. This one was really fun. My kids had a great time doing this one today. Let's see. Okay, so the objectives, we are learning about weight. You will need, so this is an example where you need your own materials. This almost never happens. Like in every other lesson, everything you need comes with the kit. But in this case, I needed 2 glasses, one with water, one with not, 2 paper cups, and then some small objects around the house to weigh. So we're going to go through the warm up here. How much is 15 plus 1? How much is 12 minus 1? Then you go through some questions about adding and subtracting and the differences there. And then we're going to review how long is the edge of one tile? How long is the edge of one cube? So we learned about inches and centimeters the last couple of lessons, which is longer, an inch or centimeter. Okay, and then so we're getting into this activity comparing weights. So she's going to tell me what she thinks about the 2 glasses, one with water, one with not. Which one does she think is heavier? Then we're going to pick out 2 cylinders out of our geometric solids. And she is going to guess which one she thinks is going to weigh the most. You put the cups on either end of this math balance. This is another thing that comes with the program. It is large. It is awkward. Good luck finding a place to store it, but it is really fun. So you put these 2 paper cups on the end with the rubber bands, and you're going to start, as you guessed it, figuring out the weights of different geometric solids. Another cool thing that we did with this lesson is there's probably about 10 in there, and we weighed each of them and we figured out which one was the heaviest all the way down to which one was the lightest. And then what was really fun for them is they went around the house and found a bunch of small things and they guessed which one was going to be heavier than the other. And then there would not be a worksheet accompanied with this activity. So they do introduce fractions in this program. It's a really short introduction. I think it's only a few lessons. So these are the last lessons of the program. They do introduce clocks there's some more fractions. They do introduce clocks towards the end of the program as well. I think we're coming up on that. So here we go. Parts of the day, some more calendar work. And I don't know how much we'll do of these clocks because my daughter's learned how to tell time on an analog clock by the hour and half hour. And I don't think they get into minutes here. They might. But anyway, they introduce clocks. Let's see. I mean, there are so many concepts in this math curriculum. There's a lot to do with shapes. There's reviewing halving and doubling. So you're learning about symmetry. Okay, so here's more clockwork. There's work with the tanagrams. So they even introduced division. I mean, right, this is considered a kindergarten curriculum, I guess, by some, but I definitely know I wasn't dividing in kindergarten. I also know that this math program was, I believe, inspired by the math philosophies in China. And so I think that overall this program is maybe a little bit different than what a typical kindergarten curriculum may look like. I definitely know I wasn't doing fractions in kindergarten either. So I just want to make sure that I'm kind of giving you a good overview of other things other concepts that they introduce. There is a lot of work with the whole and part. They give you one of these, and then you can also use a dry erase board. But there's a lot of work with this, which is great. Like I said, there's a ton of work with the abacus. So they also use this math balance as a balance. So like what we did today was for weighing and learning about that. But this has been another fun way for them to learn addition. So 10 on one side, they have these like blue weights that you use. 10 on one side, and then the child finds which parts equal 10 on the other side. And then they find out all the different parts that equal 10 on the other side. And it's really cool for them to see, like, wow, even if I move these to the 8 and the 2, it's still going to balance and be the same. And then you can add 2 weights to the 10, which would be 20, and then you would find all the different ways to make 20. And you can use as many weights as you need. It doesn't matter as long as the answer is, as long as the parts equal the whole on, that side. So that balance has been really fun for them. Let's see. So there's a lot of work with tens and ones, and then we do start getting into hundreds and thousands as well. I'll show you the great place cards that come with the program for learning all of those place values. There is some calendar work. This even comes with a calendar. Then we start getting into working with 100s. They use these little paper abacus tiles. Each one represents 100. So this was a really quick and easy introduction into numbers beyond 100 or hundreds beyond 100. So, like in kindergarten, they might learn how to count from 0 to 100 or 0 to 120. But when you can show them a visual like this, and all they have to do is count the tiles, they're all of a sudden counting, 700, which is really exciting for them. And then here's, a lesson that would be going over the ones, the tens, the hundreds. Okay, well, I said I was going to do a brief flip through, so I should probably stop. But yeah, you'll see like there's some things here where I'm like, this is just a lot of review. We're going to skip this today. And that works just fine for us. They do go into some patterns here with the tiles, because the tiles are all different colors. Oh, they do go into a little bit of money work, but gosh, I feel like there was not a lot of money work in this program. We did a lot more money work in our Simply Charlotte Mason. Okay, so then just real quick at the end, I'll show you these last pages. So they do have, starting at lesson 123, they go into review. So I'm not sure how much of this we'll do. This looks nice and short. So this would be an assessment. The worksheet, I believe, is in the worksheet book. Here's another review. Here is another assessment. Review. So that's 3 assessments, another review, 4 assessments, review, assessment. So there's 5 assessments and about 5 reviews at the end. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to show you too real quick is the math card games book. Okay, so here's the math card games book. And the cards that come with the program. I believe that the games call for more materials than just these, but we use these a lot. These are cards that are just numbered from 0 to 9, and there are like 6 of each number. So the math card games book is nice because this is optional, right? So each lesson, not every lesson, most of the lessons do encourage you to play a game at the end of the lesson to just really drive it home. We loved this. I wish that I had done it more. I think like by the end of the lesson, sometimes we're just ready to be done with math. But my daughter was usually pretty up for doing the games, and they are really great. So they start out, let's see, we definitely didn't do the majority of them. I think some of these in the beginning were really simple. So like if you did have a kindergartner, this would probably be perfect. Introducing like counting with fingers and tally marks. Let's see. So we did do a couple of these games with the tally cards. But when it really started to get fun, so like this was a fun game. This is memory. So you would use these cards, and then they also have these bead cards, and you're playing memory to try to match. You would turn over one, like the 7, and then you would turn over a bead card and try to match that number. So that's really, you know, it's a great introduction to showing like what a number really means. It's not just a written number. It's not just 7. It's actually 7 of something. Let's see. So this like just recognizing a series of numbers from smallest to biggest. This is like find the missing card between the numbers 1 and 10. Let's see. There's a war game in here that we played. Oh, so like war, you know that game where you're going up or down with your deck of cards. So that was a great introduction to more than and less than. This is a game, another game about consecutive numbers. Let's see. So here is a game about learning odds and evens, and how you can flip the abacus the other way to start learning what an even number means, like what it looks like, so that you can match it to the cards, the dot cards. Let's see. Oh, here's a dot column bingo that we never did. That looks fun. Okay, there's a speed game, or maybe that's what I'm thinking of with the more than and less than. I don't really remember what war is, but anyway, there's speed. They have like a slower version of it. Tens and ones bingo. Let's see, what else have we done? I think we we did a recent game with this, and this was actually really fun, finding multiples of 2, and then there's an envelope with multiples of 5, multiples of 10, multiples of 100, and I think it was a memory game that was based on this. All right, so they have Old Main, which is a take on Old Maid. We played that one. That was fun. Here's the Go to the Dump. This one was really fun, just like Go Fish, but trying to find a pair which equals 10. Do you see there's like so many games? This is such an incredible program. What else did we play? So a lot of these we did not do. So I'm looking forward to really having this around for years for our homeschool and hopefully getting through all of these. So here they have in the back all of these printouts that you will want to be using. I like to print these out on cardstock so you can just copy on cardstock to make them more durable. There's a lot. You're using a lot of materials in this program. Okay, so here's a whole section of games with clocks. So let's see, hour memory. Okay, so here's like your 2 players. There's 2 different colors of the number cards here. And then, is that what these are? And then you're playing memory to see who's the first one who can get the next hour on the clock. In this activity, you're playing, I don't know if it's like memory. I think you're just flipping over and you have to place the number in the right, place the hour card in the right position. Okay, so this is a fun clock memory game with the actual graphic of the analog clock matched to the digital time. Learn the correct hour when the hour hand is between numbers. So, yeah, I don't, anyway. And then here, once we get through the hours, so they do go over minutes. Here, we're placing the minute card on the right minute position. Here's the same thing, minute memory, minute solitaire. Just awesome. Like, this could be an entire math curriculum just based on these games. If you are a game schooling family, I can't think of a better way to go for math, but I know that there are a lot of great math games out there. This just is awesome. So I'll go through and show you guys the materials that come with this curriculum and this is definitely the reason that it is very expensive. So these place cards come with it. These are awesome. We used these a lot. The program does not come with this holder though. I bought this separate from their website and I'm so glad that I did, because when these were just in one of these, they get all mixed up, and this is a great way to keep them organized. So I definitely recommend getting the place card holder. The abacus is used for probably about 80% of the program. My daughters love this. It's been a great way for her to learn so many math concepts. So we love that. The geometric solids, I had to buy this. This program is a hand-me-down, and I don't know if we got these shapes with it. So I was really glad that Amazon actually had these, and they are the exact same ones that, like the right sizes and everything, and the right shapes that RightStart uses. So very glad that I was able to find those. Okay, so this is a case of all of these smaller manipulatives. It took me the entire school year to finally buy one of these. I got this at Michael's. Otherwise, the program comes with all of these loose parts. Let's see if that'll stay up. And it definitely got tricky to keep okay, the program comes with all these loose parts, but they come in a lot of plastic bags. And so it was much easier to get something like this that keeps them all in one And then I could organize each thing in its own little case. So I saw this idea, I don't know where, I think from a couple of YouTube families that use RightStart. Oops. And this was just awesome. So this was I think I probably spent like $25, maybe it was less, but it's definitely been worth it. So many materials come with this multiplication card deck. These are those envelopes with the factors of, twos, fives, tens, hundreds. It comes with some of these loose parts like rubber bands for the geo board. Tally cards, bead cards, dot cards. It comes with a calculator and this reflector. Is this the reflector? It's a mirror. I don't think this is the reflector. Some of the stuff you don't get into until higher levels of the math program. These are base cards of all different amounts. We did not use those in level A, or we haven't yet. These are just some paper cutouts of different shapes that you'll use again and again throughout the program. It does come with money cards and coins. It comes with a lot, oopsie. It comes with a lot of tiles. So these took up 3 of my little cases, but we use these for all sorts of things. Tanagrams. It has these 100 abacus cards, and then I don't know what these are for. Fraction deck. We have not used these in level A, not yet. Oh gosh, just more cards for something. And then it comes with a little clock, and these are all clock cards for the games. And if you can believe it, that's not all. I did have to use an additional file folder for the rest of the stuff that wouldn't fit into the small parts bin. So I have these here. I don't know if these came with the program or if the family that I got this program from printed all of those sheets out on cardstock, but these are all on cardstock. So I apologize. I can't tell you if the program comes with those or if these were printouts. And let's turn this around. Okay, so it comes with, oh, I didn't even think I grabbed it, but it has, some of the stuff is hard to store. It has these fraction cards and then like a very big square fraction mat that doesn't even fit in here. So sometimes it's a little tricky to find spots for all of these weird things. These are the geo boards. This looks like a really cool one for maybe multiplication, fractions, and maybe even, no, not blocks. And then this is great for shapes. This we have not used yet. Let's see. These are all of the instructions. Here are a bunch of measurement tools. We have not used any of these yet. We also have not used these, but it comes with a lot of these cardstock shapes that I believe you make into 3D shapes. Comes with tons of those. And okay, so I laminated one of the part whole circle sets since we use this all the time. Here is the book I was telling you about, Yellow is the Sun. So this is a book that teaches, I think it's 1 to 10. Yeah. So, sorry. Here's the book. This by the time we opened this, it was just, it was too simple for my daughter, and this would be too simple for my son. So I don't think that we'll use this, but this looks like a great little book for learning 1 to 10. And then it comes with a CD that it has songs for RightStart. And we also did not use that. So I do have the level B already. I thought that maybe we would have gotten to this before our first grade year ended. But this will be something that we will start at the end of this summer. The workbook, as you can see, is also small again, which I'm very happy about. I haven't really flipped through much of this program yet, so I'm not going to do a flip through for you. But obviously you can see, you know, the work starts getting quite a bit more complicated. And like, again, were we learning this kind of addition in first grade? I really don't think so, but I do think times have changed. So like the fact that this may be considered a first grade program for some doesn't like deter me or make me afraid that she's behind, because when I look at this work, I can see that this is getting much more complicated. And she did incredibly well. Like, well, here's a perfect testament to this program and how it's probably not so much matched to grades. She did the level A, and then she scored in a third grade math placement for her end of the year assessment with our charter school. That feels confusing to me. I really don't understand how that happened, considering we used a kindergarten and first grade curriculum. But anyway, I think that's just a testament to how awesome this program is and how much they really learn. And the huge breadth of concepts that they learn. So level B, schmevel B. It seems perfect for where she's at, and I don't have any doubt that she'll be right on track. When we get our hands really into this program, I will be happy to do another flip through, because I really think that for my daughter anyway, RightStart is where we will stay. For my son, I'm not sure yet. We'll just have to see.
Okay, so I hope that was a very concise flip through for you. Hope it gave you a good idea of what this program is like. I am not naturally math minded. Well, I think that there was probably just some trauma from math growing up. So I kind of have a hard time talking about it in terms of like all the concepts or even like what kind of philosophy this math program is. All I know is that it's been really fun and it's working really well for us. And she's doing great with math. So I guess I'll just quickly go over some more of those pros. I love that this program is very hands-on, kinesthetic, that there are so many math games and fun materials to use. With that being said, you definitely want to be organized when it comes to the materials. I really recommend getting one of those cases or something that is very easy to access all the pieces, because each lesson is like really different. You know, for a few lessons, you do cover the same concept, but I believe this curriculum is called a spiral method versus a mastery method. So you are not pounding away at one concept until they have it. You're like sprinkling it in, and then a few days later you're sprinkling something else in. And I assume this works. It's working for us. I don't really have an opinion about that. I kind of do. I really appreciate that it changes it up so that my daughter doesn't get too bored. So spiral method, apparently that's what that means, and it is working out great for us. But with that being said, you are grabbing different manipulatives like all the time. Okay, so what I also like about this program is that the lessons are very short. Like I said, about 10 to 15 minutes long. And then if you're adding in a math game or a worksheet, then they could easily reach 20 minutes. I love that this is open and go. It is so easy for the teacher to conceptualize what this lesson is going to be about. So it's super teacher friendly. And I think the most important pro is that my daughter liked it, and she learned a lot of new math this year. So some of the cons would be this is an expensive program, but those manipulatives you use throughout all of the levels of RightStart. I don't know how high RightStart goes. I think it goes to D or E, maybe higher. But so you're using these materials again and again throughout all of the years. And then you're just buying the new course book and workbook. Let's see. Another con might be, the workbook is kind of dry, right? It'd be nice if there were maybe a few graphics or more of like the coloring activities. So like for some kids that might really matter. It didn't really matter for my daughter, which was fine. She never complained about that. I think really she probably just wanted to get the work done. So that was fine for her. Let's see. I believe that because it's a spiral method, there's a lot of concepts that are covered in level A that are again covered in level B. So I did kind of do like a flip through of level B, and we are going to be skipping easily the first 20 lessons because we homeschool year round. There's really not a huge reason to do that big of a review. I mean, that would take us, I don't know, 20 lessons, 4, 8, 12, 16, that would take us like 5 weeks just to review everything. So we will likely skip a nice chunk of that book and keep, heading closer into level C, which for some, that would technically be 2nd grade, which is what she'll be in. Let's see. Okay, so then one of like the major cons was the different way of counting that they teach in the beginning. I think maybe halfway through level A, they start using normal numbers, but this is a part of like the Chinese background of this program. They teach children, instead of counting like 11, you would say 1, 10, 1, so it'd be 1, 10, 1, 1, 10, 2, 1, 10, 3, instead of 10, 11, 12, 13. And then once you get to 20, it would be 2, 10, and then 2, 10, 1, 2, 10, 2, 2, 10, 3. I think this is because it is easier for them to understand exactly what that means. Like when you say the number 20, it makes sense to conceptualize that is 2 10s versus this kind of abstract name for a number, which is 20. Same with like 12. Like it's a really abstract number. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but when you can see that it's 1 10 and 2 1s, then it's makes more sense to the child. So if your child is like really new at counting and conceptualizing numbers and what those numbers mean, I can understand why a program like this works really well. My kids are doing great with counting, and our Charlotte Mason didn't do that at all. So it was, and we did it, like we kind of followed along with it for a while, but it was confusing. Like my daughter, knew what 20 was. And so to then say, well, it's actually 2 10 for now. And then halfway through this program, we'll start using 20 again. We dropped it eventually, and we were like, we just don't need to count like that. But if you have a very new counter, if you have a child very new to numbers, I think that probably works out great. Okay, that's all I have. Whew. I don't know how long this video was, but it's a big program. It comes with a ton of stuff, so I'm not surprised it took a while. I love RightStart. I really am surprised that we used a program like this, just based on my personality and how creative we are in our homeschool. This was sort of like a dry, bare bones, very straightforward program. Like even the looks of it, it's kind of like, I don't know, it looks like a public school program or something. And it just was awesome. So don't judge a book by its cover. RightStart is awesome. I will never turn my back on it as long as it continues to work for my daughter. Anyway, okay, any questions? If I forgot to go over anything major, let me know. And thanks for tuning in. All right, have a great rest of your summer, guys, and I'll be back soon. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Ciao.